Hi everyone! I hope you're doing well today. We're halfway through the week. I feel like we were just here last week. Time is flying by. If you are watching, please say hi in the comments below. Let me know how you're doing. So this week, we're just going to discuss whether you should budget or not budget, or is there a different method perhaps that you could be using. So we'll get into that. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jayce and I am the owner and accountant of Hooked Accounting Services, LLC. And I'm based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, so I mostly target work within the South Florida counties, even up into Okeechobee, Fort Pierce, just trying to expand my horizons. There's a lot of people I know who need bookkeeping services, and now we can do so much electronically with the use of the internet and computers, and even though it's not always a wonderful thing, they do help us a lot in day-to-day life. Sometimes they're not so friendly, but we just go through as we can and deal with the technical issues as they come up. So let's go ahead and get into our topic today. I know I asked at the beginning of the week, do you guys think you should budget or you should not budget to increase your profits in your business? So most people would say, yeah, you should budget, right? There are some advantages and disadvantages of budgeting. We all know that government agencies run strictly on budgets. Business owners, typically, that's one of the first things they do is they come up with a business plan. They say, this is what my projected budget would be. And then, of course, at the end of the year, they look, or the end of the quarter, and say, how did I do according to that budget? They spend time analyzing. They meet with different departments, ask them how much they think each department needs to create the budget. So all this can be very time consuming. And then in the end of the day, you get into your day-to-day operations. You're doing photography, you're a dentist and you have patients and you're doing fillings, or you're at court fighting a lawsuit as an attorney. Like, you have all these other obligations you have to do and responsibilities within your field, doing what you know how to do best. And then you have a bookkeeper or an accountant do your books, and they say, okay, you spent this much in office expenses. Well, is that how much your budget allotted for the year or for the quarter? So a lot of business owners either start a budget and don't stick to it, or they just don't do a budget and swipe the card, write the checks. Then at the end of the year, they're like to their CPA, what does it look like for the year? Well, there's an easier way that's not so time consuming and that gives you a little more flexibility as a business owner to make decisions, and that's called forecasting. So forecasting allows you, like a budget would, to reflect on what has happened in the past. Okay, my expenses, my cost of goods was higher in the prior year, so maybe we can bring down the cost of goods so that we can increase our profits. It also lets you know this is what worked in the past and may help you increase your profits in the future, or this didn't work. So you can still reflect on the past as you would with the budget, and you still look forward to the future and say, okay, this is where I think I need to be profit-wise. This is how much my cost of goods needs to stay within. And this is all called forecasting. It's not as strict and confining as a budget would be, and therefore it's not going to take you as much time as a budget would. This gives you more flexibility as an owner to spend time doing what you do in your practice, and it also gives you more flexibility when making decisions as a business owner. You can start the year and say, okay, I want my profits to be this much, so my cost of goods need to be here, and then this for operating expenses to give me this desired net income at the end of the year. And that's great. But what happened in 2020? Here came COVID. Now granted, COVID pretty much shut everything down, and hopefully we never experience anything like that again, but it is a possibility. But let's say there's a slight recession or a kickback, or all of a sudden the economy goes crazy and we're making all this money. So let's say we're making a bunch of money because the economy is going crazy and you're selling more than you typically would, you're servicing more clients than you typically would, so that's awesome, you're making more money. But now you can make the decision through forecasting to say, okay, I have this extra money, what can I do to reinvest in my company? Maybe there's a piece of equipment that you can buy that will allow you to service more clients and that'll bring in more profits. You can go ahead and say, okay, in the second quarter of the year, I'm going to go ahead and purchase this piece of equipment and then I can increase my profits. Yes, I'm going to spend a little, but I'll gain more in profit. With a budget, that wouldn't have taken place. That would have been outside your created budget, so it's not going to match up very well. And you spent all of that time only to do something else. And that's perfectly okay. As a business owner, you should be able to pivot and make those decisions. A lot of decisions in a business are made pretty quickly. Unlike the government where you have to put in a PO, it has to be approved, then you have to get the actual check from the accounting office to pay for whatever your PO was for. That all takes time. And sometimes as a business owner, especially if it's a smaller business, you may not have the time. The sale may expire. The promotion or the opportunity that's being presented to you may not be around for 2 months for you to get everything approved and rerun your budget and see all of your numbers. But you as a business owner may be able to make that call and say, okay, this is something that will help me increase my profits. So forecasting is a less strict and confining way of being able to evaluate your profits, your expenses, and see where you need to lead your business. Maybe your expenses are way high and you've met a new vendor and they can provide you with the same quality products or better quality products for less of a cost. That can help you and again will change things for you. Maybe because of that lesser expense, you can now invest in something else, or you can put some money away for a future plan. You can pay yourself as the owner and have a little bit of return on investment. Wouldn't that be great? Or you can go on a trip or a conference that you had wanted to do, but you just weren't able to do it. Forecasting just gives you a little more flexibility as the business owner. And again, it's less time consuming. It's more flexible, but it still provides you with the service of understanding your cost against your profits. It helps you reflect on the past and what has happened in the past, what you've learned from, and it'll help you to gauge where you go in the future. So it provides a lot of those benefits that a budget would, but it's just more user-friendly, and it helps business owners really take their business to the next step and maybe a little faster than you would have ever thought possible with the budget. So that was just a little tidbit I wanted to throw out there regarding budgeting, and maybe that helps relieve some of you. Maybe you still think budgets are great, which is awesome. Biggest part of being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, is being able to try different things and say, okay, this works for me, I'm going to go ahead with that. Or this really doesn't make sense to me, it doesn't work, and that's fine. You just go on to the next thing. That's what makes you successful, is you try things, you figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And maybe a budget fits into your personality, fits into your work process, and is great for you. Maybe you're so focused on doing what you do in your practice, budgeting stresses you out. Why get more stress than you already have in your day-to-day life? And just use the forecasting, which still holds you responsible and accountable for your financial actions within your business. And then you're not having to stress so much. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. You can also reach me via message on Facebook. I have a business accounting page. It's called Hooked Accounting Services. All my information's there. Email, messaging, telephone. You can reach me in a variety of ways. If you or somebody you know is looking for bookkeeping services, I'm always available. So just direct them to my page. I ask that you like my Facebook page so I can get more followers and share. It's greatly appreciated. And I think that's about all for today. So thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from some of you guys if you have any questions. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your week.